Hey guys, I just want to give my 2 cents on the whole residential school thing. I get a lot of people asking me about this, asking about the whole residential school thing, what I think about it. And I'm a Catholic, what I think about it, how do I feel being a Catholic, and what is this, you know, does it, they're questioning my faith. Do you believe in a faith and that? And I'm getting a lot of messages to that. And the other day it was Reconciliation Day, Orange Day, and basically, my thoughts on that is very simple. Just prosecute the people that did it, right? A lot of these residential schools were given back to the bands or the Indian bands, some 20 years before they closed, 30 years, and some of them 50 years. So some schools were given back to the bands for the last 20, 30, or 50 years until they finally closed. So they have to look into that. They really need to do an investigation before they throw the Catholics and the church under the bus, right? Because that's always the first thing to do, is always blame the Catholics. And that's been happening for centuries and millennia. But I think investigating, digging, and they could find out if it could have been an illness that went through, because sudden child death syndrome is happening now in 2023. Why wouldn't it be happening when those schools were open, right? It happens all the time. I'm not trying, all I'm saying is very simply prosecute the people involved. They have records of all these schools. They know who taught at these schools. They know when the schools were transferred over back to the bands. They have the technology to look at the samples and find out what the cause of death was. There was ways to look at the samples and find out if it was how long the body was there or whatnot, by just doing tests to find out, oh, this is too new. So it must have been after it was transferred over back to the bands, right? Or the tribes, right? All I'm asking, instead of throwing the whole Catholic religion and the whole church under the bus, I am actually very hated. I have people that don't come and shop at my store. I have crosses on my store, and I have a little statue of Our Lady of Fatima. I have a lot of people that dislike me and don't want to shop here because I'm a Catholic, right? They've told me to my face. It's not me making this stuff up, right? So I think they should just prosecute the people that are involved. Oh, but that happened a long time ago. The Jews are still chasing down Nazis all over the world to this day. To this day, they're still chasing down Nazis all over the world. So yeah, prosecuting, investigating, soil samples, actual, out of respect, and then create a beautiful mausoleum in respect and in favor, and so that it's above ground, people could see it, and like a statue, so nobody forgets. A beautiful mausoleum. Then if they could trace the names to the plots, if there is, then they could actually remember them by name and remember who it was, and kind of pinpoint a year maybe of cause of time of death. Just prosecute the people involved. You don't have to go. There's evil in Catholicism. There's evil in Islam. There's evil in Judaism. There's evil in Hinduism. There's evil in everything. There's a side of evil to everything. There's always people that are obviously going to take advantage of that they have this power, and they use it against the people, right? There's evil in every corner of the earth, right? So prosecute the people involved, expose the people involved. The records are there. Instead of just throwing the whole church under the bus, instead of the people that brought the European expansion, built the roads, the highways, the stadiums, the homes. They brought sanitation, right? Brought sanitation, built high rises, built a functional sewer system, built, you know what I mean? People that came over and built the European expansion. And now we're being basically removed. And this happened back in Toronto back in 2007 and 8, when Toronto basically started to see a correction in the housing market. And what they did was they just deported a bunch of Portuguese families, about 47,000. They would go to the schools and grab the children. They would go to the schools and grab that spoke Portuguese and held them in the gymnasium and waited for the parents to come. They would close Dufferin Mall, an entire mall in downtown Toronto. They would close a mall, and you couldn't get in or out if you couldn't prove you weren't Portuguese. If you were Portuguese, you had to prove you were allowed to be in Canada. So a lot of these Portuguese came with path to citizenship if they came and worked in the housing market. And they basically were kicked out after the housing market started to go south. So now, Doug Ford of Toronto, you could look it up, a few months back, stated that he wants 100,000 Portuguese to come, build the infrastructure and maintain it. And no Portuguese came because of what happened in 2007 with the mass deportation of Portuguese families from Toronto. They held Portuguese-speaking children in the gymnasiums. They gave people a really hard time. If you were pregnant and you came to Toronto for a funeral, or you came to Canada for a funeral and you were a Portuguese, they tell you at the immigration office, if you have this child here, it won't be a Canadian and you'll be deported. So there's a lot of cases of that stuff. And so there's a lot in every, different corner. You look around a corner, there's always something. There's the good and there's the evil, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should they just prosecute the people involved and just not... So something happens, so the American administration goes and bombs a country. So does that mean everyone that speaks English or every American now is involved? Well, no. It's the administration. And most administrations are selected anyway. They're not even voted in by the people. So I just think they should just... Anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know that. I just wanted to, I've gone through as being a Portuguese, being raised in Toronto, where I have to lie to my employers and let them know that I have to lie and tell them I'm not Portuguese, because I will get fired, and I've been fired before. So let me know what you guys think. They should just prosecute the people involved. Create a beautiful, beautiful mausoleum on every ground across Canada in respect and solidarity for what happened. But investigate it. Find out, right? All right, guys. I'm going to go. That's my 2 cents on things. Let me know what you guys think. We'll talk later. Mike Martins, I have spoken.